All right, welcome back, guys. This is Blue Ridge Silverhound, and we got a pocket change market report. We're inching very close to the halfway point of the month here, guys. December 12, 2024 is our target date for this one, so we're going to go back approximately 24 hours worth of activity. Very, very active. I think people are certainly heeding a little bit of advice. Not everybody listens to me, so I don't want to go out there and say like, oh yeah, it's like everybody that sells on eBay, listens to what Blue Ridge says. I think we're seeing a lot of sellers that are very in tune to how the market's working for the last month of the year. All right. So what the heck am I getting at here? It's real simple. People are out there. They're making that one last push to sell whatever they need to get some extra cash for the holidays. Specifically Christmas. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. People are looking for money in every which way. Selling on the platform eBay is a tried and true method. Now, it's not to say that things aren't going to continue to forge forward after the 15th of the month. Most certainly, sales are still going to happen. Okay, let's not be all naive and think that, that this thing shuts off like a faucet. It doesn't. Um, I mean, obviously, there's kind of like that tie-in with, okay, if I could sell my product before the 15th, I could certainly get it to the customer by Christmas. And I can tell you this right now: the post office is very overwhelmed. I actually had a few run-ins with them here in the last couple days, and it's like pulling teeth each and every single time that I'm there. So I just want to let you know that there are certainly disruptions within the postal service. My local post office, their deal is we're just shorthanded. We couldn't hire enough people to fulfill the holiday rush, and the place is like wall to wall bonkers busy. So I just want to let you guys know that it's kind of a weird time compared to any other month of the year, the post office again is going to be pushed to the limit, and that might in a way affect your sales to an extent. So keep that in mind. So we're going to take a look at some errors and varieties, all ungraded. We don't look at graded coins. Keep that money in your pocket. Just sell it as it is. You find it, you sell it. You sell it, you find it, you find it, you sell it, so on and so forth. We also sell on the platform Whatnot. I know a few of you do sell on that particular platform. That's a great call. We're kind of waning down here in our last few days of selling on the platform before we take an extended kind of vacation time off to recharge batteries and replenish inventory. Inventory has been like flying off the shelf here at Blue Ridge Silverhound and on Whatnot. It's we have just that. We have some premium selections, coin, currency, precious metals, vintage silver, bars and rounds. Oh my God, it's incredible. So we are going to be on this Friday, another live event at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And I believe we're also going to do a pop-up here this afternoon at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern as well. So we got a couple shows here. It's anybody's guess if we're going to do more shows beyond this Friday. We'll see. It really depends on the people, because we've been buying some inventory here in the last couple weeks, so that might facilitate some sort of need to do an extra show between now and Christmas. We'll see. I'll let you guys know. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right into these selections here. Top to bottom, you're going to get the best and worst as far as coin images. Now, this one right here is a dynamite looking photo of a 1948 S Jefferson nickel. It's more than just a pretty face, is what I like to say. This one is actually a nice variety. It's a repunch mint mark number 7 in the Kaneka files. And as far as the overall condition of the coin, it's mint state. It's a nice, very choice example. So this one right here is quite minor, which stands a reason to believe that this is a variety that is much more easier seen on coins of a nice higher grade, like the one that you see here. This particular one right here has an S over S repunch mint mark. The secondary punch is south of the primary. Good job to the seller, who is one of the regular usuals on eBay and sells a lot of varieties. This one ended up selling for $15.35. Not too shabby considering you could just buy the coin for maybe about a quarter. And, if you were lucky enough to find this variety, you could make some money off of that. So, you know, um, where other people really don't care about varieties and things of this nature, it'll be an opportunity for you to come in, sweep in, cherry pick the coins, and then either add it to your collection or resell it. That's kind of the name of the game here with the whole eBay selling thing. Next one that we have here, plucked right out of change, man. This thing, I would imagine a lot of people really did not give two cares about. But, as a collector and maybe as an error, enthusiast, this one will be a great addition to your eBay sales. It's a 1965. Call it for what it is. One of the most ignored dates of Washington quarters. If it's not silver and it's not 64 or earlier, who cares, right? This particular one here is a delamination. You can see it on the reverse there. Probably at one point was a partial clamshell that had broken off. And yeah, that particular layer is bye-bye. It's gone. So this particular one right here, another surprising sale at $24, worth way more than 25 cents. So if you do come across these, and granted, this one is not in fantastic shape, which is kind of a red herring for a lot of people who are not in the hobby. People will take one look at this and say, why do I want to keep this? This thing does look like it's been used as a screwdriver. It looks like it's been out on a roadway. It looks like people just really did not give a care about it. But there are people that, if they're able to identify something specific about the coin that's a legitimate variety or mint error, then this is where you're going to shine and where you're really going to monetize off of things like this. 1981 Lincoln Memorial Cent. This one features what they call an indent with a partial brockage. So there was this coin and another coin that was overlapping, okay, offset, and then both coins were struck in tandem, thereby leaving this depression that you see here, along with some of the OG design from the other coin. So it's like you have a lock and a key, and you have these two pieces. There is probably out in this world another coin that has an indent that fits this one perfectly. Okay, it's kind of a tall ask to find the perfect one that fits that, and more than likely it's going to be another 1981 cent. So this one right here is $32.99 on the sale. Someone had put it up as a buy it now, I believe for $29.99, and they kicked in a few dollars for shipping. Is how this one came to be. We also have this one here too. Quite a well circulated piece, much akin to the 1965 Washington quarter we just looked at. It's a 1986 Philadelphia minted Jefferson nickel. This one has what we call a small cud die break. You can see it there at the base of Jefferson's bust, that kind of raised anomaly that looks very unnatural to the coin. Again, someone will, maybe identify this and will think of everything else that could be possibly wrong with the coin other than it being a true, genuine U.S. Mint error. Go figure, right? Again, if you know what you're looking for, okay, again, you could really do well here. Cuds are, of course, our kings, and even coins that are pretty well used and abused, like this one here, don't discount the power of a cud, and it doesn't matter on what coin. This one ended up selling for $22.03. I mean, that's pretty good too. I would take that all day long. Nice little $20 bill, which otherwise can, go into the gas tank or maybe put some food on the table for Christmas. Ooh, man, this thing's crazy, and it doesn't even look like it's all that, right? It's like, oh, man, this thing's scrunched up. The guy just threw it on the table, took a couple pictures, and let it be. It's a 1988 $5 bill. It's one of the old series with the small head Lincoln profile or bust right there in the center. But take a look at all those gutter folds, guys, left to right, all horizontally oriented. And there was a bunch of them too. All right. So the sheet had kind of bunged up to the point where it was making all of these wrinkles, and then it was all printed over. Is what it ended up happening. So obviously, when you print over a wrinkle, it's going to leave a channel by the time you stretch out that wrinkle on the note, because obviously it'll be cut afterwards and then, you know, displayed as such. Take a look at the reverse here too. Yeah, kind of an oddball shape, huh? If you didn't see the obverse, you would think that this would be like a miscut error or something to that effect. But man, this thing did really well for its condition, and I think it's just the quantity of gutter folds that really compounded the value of this one. It ended up selling to the tune of $234.49, and that's off of 23 total bids. Man, again, this is a phenomenal note. And it just goes to show you that you just don't need to grade even some of the big, impressive, eye-appealing pieces like this. Just leave it as is. I would say put it into a currency sleeve, and then you're good to go here. Also, another U.S. Mint era archetype that's picking up some heat are laminations, especially ones that look as crazy as this one. 1943, Philadelphia. That reverse lamination is quite nasty on this one. Really remarkable looking. It used to be these things, you had a hard time selling these. Eye appeal wise, back in the day, people just didn't see it. It's like, yeah, it's gunked up with dirt and grease, and it was not a good look. And then we fast forward, 30, 35, 40 years later, and people are kind of changing their tune here on these to the point where these things are not worth just like 50 cents to a dollar. They're worth more than that. This one ended at $30.75. Quite a remarkable turnaround for a coin that was otherwise a redheaded stepchild of the U.S. Mint community or U.S. Mint era community. Whew, that's a mouthful. But there you go. That is another great one. We got more of these to come in this show. Another good one here. These things are solid sellers. Anytime you can find them. I know I found a few of them in roll hunts and things like that. 1973 Lincoln Memorial Cent that was struck through on its obverse through a very late state cap die. All right, so there was actually a coin that was stuck to the die that had the obverse design, and it was striking up all of these other coins. So you can imagine that this die cap, was beginning to thin out. It was beginning to get bigger and thinner and things like that. And it's going to produce this kind of effect on coins. This one right here sold for $34.21. Again, man, these are wildly consistent in the marketplace. So after this coin, we have about 15 coins total that were all sold through regular auction style format. So you put them up for 5 or 7 days and people just sit there and bid all the way up to the last moment of the sale. We have a whole bunch of them. Here, let's go ahead and check some of these out. Here's another one here that was struck through a cap die, this time on a Roosevelt dime. This one, again, quite seriously a nasty looking fellow. We don't see too many struck through cap dimes because of their size, their lightweight. They have less of a tendency to stick to the die compared to Lincoln cents and nickels and things like that. But throw this one into the mix. Another awesome sale. $39.05, 13 total bids for this one. We also have this 1975 Lincoln cent. Again, a very overlooked kind of piece here. Some people will say, wow, there's something wrong with it. It looks like it got smacked around. It was actually a strike through on the obverse there, so it looks almost like an indent, but it's not. It's there's some grease or some sort of like hardened debris bits all mixed into this compacted oxide grease ball that was sitting on the die, and it struck this thing with obviously the top part of Lincoln's skull completely depressed on there. So pretty neat looking piece here. This one sold for $21.81 with 7 total bids. And this is another great one here too. I would encourage you guys that, especially for those of you that like to stack, silver in all of its forms, whether it's like 999 fine rounds or 90% constitutional, things like that. There's always going to be something to be found, and it's going to be worth way more than what the silver content is. This is one of them here, 1924 peace dollar with a very, very shallow clip. It's right there under the 1 and 9 of the date. And if you look right at the top where the E and R are in Liberty, there's a flattened area on the rim. They call that the Blakesley effect. And the clip and the Blakesley effect kind of go hand in hand. Not every coin with a clip will have a Blakesley effect, but it certainly doesn't hurt that if it does. It just really means that this is a legitimate mint error, and you don't have to worry about believing that this one was done aftermarket. So this one here sold for again more than a silver melt value of this, which is what, like $25 or something like that. Ended at $44 with 16 bids. So this is a classic case of I could cherry pick this right out of a dealer's bin of low ball Peace and Morgans, and make yourself 10, 15, $20 per piece. These are out there more than you think. They are actually quite common of an event. Another one here, although this one surprisingly looks like it's circulated around the block a few hundred times. 1972D candy half dollar with 2 clips this time. A nice large curved clip and a smaller shallow clip. Yeah, this thing is quite crazy too. It's got the Blakesley effect off of both clips. You can see it on the reverse and the obverse of the coin. Man, this thing is nutty for what it is. And for all of you out there that are hunting through half dollar rolls looking for just silver and you're ignoring these, shame on you. Shame on you. This one sold for $34 with 13 bids, and it's not in that great a shape. It's quite honestly, it looks like a polished turd, to be honest. But where there is some sort of form of trash for one person, there's going to be treasure for another. So keep that in mind. Another one here, very, very minor. Again, another one that I'm not surprised would be overlooked by, well, nearly everyone in the general public. 1974D Roosevelt dime, struck by misaligned dies. The obverse die is off center. The reverse is perfectly centered. So, kind of crazy event here. The obverse die had a little bit of a shake or play to it. So when it was striking the coin, the die had shifted a little bit, thereby producing this wild looking anomaly. And let's see, this one right here sold for $23.50 with 12 bids. Dimes getting all sorts of love and action because we have another one here. Might it be because they're going to redesign the coin in 2026? We're all excited about that. So now there's all of a sudden some newfound love for a little tiny silver disc that we call the Roosevelt dime. 1974 Philly, this time Roosevelt dime, struck through a bunch of grease. Okay, lots of weakness in the strike here, as you can see on both sides of the coin. And the application of grease on the mint presses is simply to lubricate the chassis, so to speak, right? It's to make sure that all of these parts continue to work as intended without fail. All right, so this particular one right here sold for $31.59 with 18 bids. Now, between you and me and the little birdie guys, regular common folk that hold on to coins like this, you think they would know any better as to what it is? You know, it'll just look like a dime that someone had in their pocket. They just sit there and rub it, all the time. That's the common tendency is you think the worst of everything before you believe that it is the best of everything. And that's what kind of like U.S. Mint errors are to regular people who don't collect into coins. Numismatics is a terminology that's very Greek to them, and once they begin to get it, oh my goodness, the gates of heaven split wide open, and you get this kind of like this moment of realization that this is something that as long as people are in control of producing our monetary system, whether it's paper money or this, there's always going to be room for mistakes. Machinery hasn't completely dominated the world of coin production. We also have this 1964 Roosevelt dime. It's a silver. Aha. 2 clips, albeit not the most impressive looking coin, but it is on here. $18.51 with 5 bids. So there you go. Look out for that one too. Another lamination, but unfortunately it does have a little bit of I guess, damage on the obverse there. Looks like someone scraped across with some tool or whatever. Right there by Liberty. So it's not the perfect coin. It is a war nickel, and these things are, lamination prone compositions, I guess. This one's cool. It looks like a meteor had struck Monticello, and it's reverberating all this lightning bolts and stuff. I mean, it's quite wild and very, very eye appealing. And that's what people who collect these want. $29 on the sale, and that's with 12 bids. Okay, so the auctions keep on rolling here. Another lamination, Buffalo nickels, very common occurrence. This went on in 1927 Buffalo nickel. You can see it on the reverse. Nice, even, horizontal left to right lamination, delamination. This one right here sold for $36.88 with 9 bids this time. So be on the lookout for the Buffalo nickel laminations. Look on both sides. We also have this 1973 D Lincoln Memorial set with what we call a double strike. So the secondary strike is like 98% off center. Nothing too crazy. You don't see a lot of the design devices on the second strike. But yeah, this one I've found a couple times in circulation, and again, the first kind of thing that you think about with this is like, oh yeah, it took a hit, which is a common tendency. This one right here sold for a $50 bill. Wow, $50 on this one. 19 bids total. Here's another one of those fantastic coins that were struck through a very late stage die cap. The die cap was so thin that it was even beginning to wrinkle on itself a little bit here. This time on 1972 Philly dated Lincoln Memorial. Again, what else is there to say? This thing's neat as heck. And, this one here, $34. Again, very consistent. $30 to $35 is what these generally sell for. 7 total bids. So again, the auction train is very active. People are hitting the bid button. They're buying their last amount of collectibles before the end of the year. And another thing to keep in mind, if you were going to continue to sell all the way out through the end of the year, it's not the worst thing that could happen, because people, especially dealers that have money that they need to spend, to get ready for next year's tax filing, they're going to go ahead and buy up, inventory. They're going to do some last minute like coin grading and all this other stuff that generally you would be able to write off at the end of the year on your taxes, because it's all professional fees and, buying inventory and things of that nature. Man, another cool lamination. Geez, it just blows my mind how many of these are out there, and there's still tons of them to be discovered. 1957D, look at the obverse there with a bunch of lamination that's detached, folded, and then another one that's retained and folded and overlapping. And Yeah, I mean, I could stare at this thing for a while. It's that cool. This one here sold for $29. My goodness, $29.25 with 9 bids. I'm like, laminations, you could never sell them for this kind of money. And then you have like a true organic auction buildup to these things where people are buying them not only as buy and nows, but they're bidding on them up to this price level like this one here. I mean, again, 9 bids, ladies and gents. Great fig pictures, by the way. This is really easy to obtain, like on an iPhone. Like you will not have issues doing this same kind of photography with an iPhone. It's just amazing. Um, kind of a minor one, 1909, but it is a VDB. It's got VDB initials on the reverse there. Although this one is quite a circulation beater. It's a defective planchet. So you see the O and 1 on the reverse, there's actually a crack. So the planchet was defective even before it was struck. So where are we at on this? It is an '09 VDB, which does mean something to a collector. There's not too many mint errors you can find on these. $29, $29 off 15 bids. Um, yeah, now we're back to currency. After 15 listings, we got a piece of currency. It's one we've talked about. I'm following the trend on these very closely because they are picking up some sort of steam. And these are found on the 2017 A Series $2 bill. All right, it has to be a star note. Not every star note from this particular series on a $2 bill is the same. But if you look at the top right star, it's over inked. It's filled in completely. Yeah, it's minor, it's small, but it is a paper money error. And if you were going to send this off to like PCGS banknote or PMG grading, they would actually denote it as a filled star or over ink star error. All right, which is very important. Some would say that, oh yeah, this is minor. Who the heck's paying this kind of money? It's a legitimate error. All right, if the grading companies will denote it as that, then you got to follow the trend, my friend. If you don't, you're gonna be stuck. You're gonna be stuck wondering why you're not making any money in this hobby. So this one here, yeah, slight uptick, $62.15, 22 bids. I believe the last one I covered, and there's probably been a few since then. The last one I covered, probably a couple weeks ago, sold for $57. All right, and then the one before that, I believe it was right around 50. So little small trend upward on these, and they have to look this good. They have to be like perfectly crisp, out of the strap, really nice for him to command this kind of money. One of my favorites, and I'll be damned if I found maybe 2 of these in my life. 1942 S. It's not just the date, but it's a dual cherry picker's guide variety. All right, what do I mean by that? Well, it's both a FS 501 RPM and it's also an FS 101 doubled die obverse. This thing is really cool, and I've never found one as nice as this. The ones I found, I think I found like 2XF, which are pretty nice, and you could see the varieties very well on an XF coin. But when we look closer over here, check out a few things. Okay, there's Liberty there on the bottom right. You can see the doubling at the top of each of the letters there, the Y, the T, the R, and things like that. But when we look at the date, you can see the doubling, the doubled top curl of the 9, especially in the date, and the RPM. This is actually a triple S RPM. S over S over S. You can actually see the curl of one of the S punches there on the bottom left corner of the mint mark. So yeah, I mean, how much does something like this go for, especially in this condition? That's a great question, and I'm sure you're probably wondering. $108.50. Get this. This was not a buy it now. This was bid up to this amount 19 times. 19 total bids to get it up to $108.50. Holy smokes. How about the perfect double struck Lincoln set? Perfect in the sense that when you have a double struck coin like this, if you can read 2 dates and they're full with a mint mark, it's perfect. All right. So this in turn makes it that much more desirable. And you're right, it does. This one right here sold for $200 and $75, where if it did not have a secondary readable date, whether on the main strike or the off-center strike, it would probably dwindle it down to about $50, you know. But still, this thing is beautiful. It's a copper too. It's got nice color to it. Overall oxidized brown. But yeah, again, another coin that's just gonna live rent free in my head for a while because it's that nice. And how about one of the more amazing off-center struck state quarters? This New Hampshire came across the auction block here toward the end. A 2000p. This thing is off-center by like 25%. It's very cool. This one sold for $51.98. 23 total bids. I'm telling you, state quarter errors are very well collected right now. People are doing it by state or date. If they're doing it by date, they're looking for both P and D for every date, and that could be a little bit tough. And the final coin, we have to revisit another one that's been very hot here in 2024, and that, my friends, is the 2024 P Dr. Mary Edwards Walker American Woman Quarter. All right, this one featuring the newly discovered DDR number one. Okay, this one is attributed actually by Dr. Wiles, so it has the distinction of being the DDR number one. So this one right here, you're going to look at the metal there on the left. It's got the doubled star, and then the back of Dr. Edwards' hair is also doubled as well. Reported to be probably the most significant doubled die discovery on quarters since the 2009 D Washington D.C. doubled die reverse. That says a lot. All right, and the prices they're hot. These things are trending very well right now. This one sold for $149. All right, the top high on this one was right around $206, so that's kind of like the high meter. But they're all selling very consistently in this like 150-ish kind of range on these, which is very cool to see. Glad to see a new coin with a nice variety. Making its mark known, which means it's going to live on to become a very nice variety for many years to come. All right, the information in this video is for educational use only, not financial advice. Please do collect and or grade your coins responsibly, and I want to thank you guys again for coming on board. We're going to have our mid-month PCMR here in a couple days, so look out for that. And thank you guys again for all of your views and support. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm your host, Blue Ridge Silverhound. I'm out. I'm going to go and do some cherry picking as usual. I'll see you guys later. Take care.